Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is TimBatSea and we are in Marcus Hook. Down here, we need to go over there. But that ship's coming. I don't know if you can see it. Trying to find in the viewfinder here. But anyway, so what I've done here is you'll see I've come down the channel like this. I've gone into the anchorage. Oops, sorry about that. Came down the channel like this, and I'm in the anchorage, and I'm going to turn around because there's a tide. The tide is ebbing right now. So I am making 4.5 knots basically in clutch because the tide is fair. It's behind me. So I've come way over here, and now I'm going to go hard right with the idea of spinning around the ship coming up here. Let me put this more in the middle. Yeah, so hopefully we'll spin around here like this. The ship will go by. You can see that's a 6-minute line there. And then we'll go right there. So that's what the task is at hand. The sun's going down. I don't know how much you can see, but that's what we'll try to do. Okay, so I'm about, almost halfway through my turn. You can see the ship is coming in over here. And it might look like we have a problem, but if I show you this on the chart plotter, you should see that we have plenty of room on him. But the important thing is that he and I talked about what the plan was, so that he knows what I'm doing, I know what he's doing, I know where he's going, he knows where I'm going. So, what do they say? Aviate, navigate, communicate, in that order. But over here, since we're on the water, we marinate. Anyway, I'm still doing a right-hand twist. To give you an idea of how big that ship is, and that's not even a big ship. I would call that a regular or even on the smaller size container ship. And he's doing 9.2 knots. It looks like he's going slow, but that's because he's so big. Now, since I'm never going to be able to catch him, I'm going to stop with my twist and start coming ahead on both engines to kind of get me spun around into the tide. Once again, we want to go over here. So I don't want to get over there too much. I want to go across the channel and then over. The problem is I'm going to be turning up into the tide, so that might be an issue. So what I'll probably do is kind of make my way around like that, get into the tide, and use the tide to walk me over like an assist tug. And I'm assuming that you guys know what I'm talking about. If the tide is coming down this way and the side of the barge is like this, it'll hit it and it'll push against me and force me laterally over. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's the hope anyway. We'll see how it works. All right, so I'm turning, but I'm still not making forward progress. My predictor line is still showing me headed down the river, and I don't want to come. I'm still rotating pretty well, and I don't want to rotate past where I want to go. So I'm giving it hard left wheel to check it up. There we go. I'm looking at the mast and seeing those smokestacks and seeing that almost got it checked up. Still turning to the right a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now I can put it back to 0 degrees rudder. And our predictor line is going off like that, so as we do this, it'll start coming forward, and then once that happens, then we'll start coming right a little bit more. If you look over, you can see a white tank right at the end of the container ship there with a stairs all lit up. That's the dock that we're going to. But I don't want to go right at it. I want to go below it so I can drive up to it. Okay, we're making 2.3 knots, and right now it has us going like this, and that's because the tide is coming down on us. So that's okay. That means that we're still working there. So I'll still get below the dock a little bit, and that's okay. Okay, we're up to 2.6 knots now. And we really would be going much faster because I'm almost half ahead right now. But not only is it a great big 50 barge, and we're just a little 3,000 tug here, but I'm also fighting the tide. All the tide's going this way. So kind of going against everything. All right, Chief, we're about 5 minutes out. Come on out.
Okay.
All right. Now we're up to 3.4. I might actually pull it back a little bit now that we're getting a little away on here. Remember, energy in means I got to take energy out somewhere at the other end. 3.5, it's still increasing speed. Now, I've talked about my predictor line before and that we use a 6-minute line, and I've got 6 minutes right to the dock right now. So even though the dock looks ahead of me, if we kept going at this speed, it would take us 6 minutes before we get to the dock. Yeah, and actually, it's not... It's the next one up, I think. Yeah. I'm going too far down. It's aiming on the wrong one. That's okay. So we can always drive up to the tide. We can't. It's hard to fall back. And you say, well, why would that be? The tide's going there. You just let the tide pull you back. Well, I won't be able to have any control over it then. So right now, my predictor line has me going straight at the docks over here. So I want to get that bow over so that I don't end up on the dock before too long. It's still about 3 minutes away, maybe 4 minutes away, something like that. Okay, I'm going to straighten it up a little bit. Just zooming in on my chart plotter here. When I came through the anchorage, I was looking at the white tanks with the lit stairs on them and said, that's the dock that I have to aim for at night. But the problem was I was way over there, so now my reference point has changed, and it looks like I'm still in line with it, but it's just because I am in line with the tank, but not in line with the dock. The dock we want is going to be the... I think you can see these. Let me see if I put this right here. I think you can see these right about there. That's where we want to get. So I'm going to make my way over there. Right now I got the predictor line almost dead ahead of me. So that's good. We're making 2.6 knots, which is relatively slow. And that's kind of nice so that we have time. Unfortunately, because I'm not sliding into the dock and I'm going up into the tide, it's going to be, our predictor line is now predicting like about 8 minutes to the dock. So I'm going to increase speed here. So we went from 3.5 knots down to 2.4. So I'm increasing speed to get up there because I'm trying to get this video done so that you guys can still see it in the waning light. What do they call this? The magic hour? Oh, it's so romantic. I often wonder if my dad jokes are lost on you guys. I got a feeling a lot of you guys are dads and have your own dad jokes as well. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the binocs and have a look at the dock here. See what I'm looking at. I don't really see what I don't really know what I'm looking at quite yet as far as what kind of fendering is there, but we'll figure it out. Now, this particular barge, I asked the tankerman if he had the side that he had to go to, and he said, whatever I want. So, by turning around, I've done two things. One is I'll be able to counter the tide. In other words, drive into the tide instead of having to do a back into the tide. So, that's much easier for me. But after they pump this off, and whoever has to pick this up later, they'll probably be going back up to Philly. So the barge will be pointed right in the right direction for them. Okay, we're doing 3.9 knots, and we're getting closer to the dock, so I've just pulled it back to clutch to try to bleed. I got a feeling, even though it's a heavy barge, it's going to slow down quickly because of that ebb tide. Now it's funny. If you look at my bow is way too far this way. The dock's over there. But my predictor line is showing me sliding right into the dock right like this. So I'm just going to keep everything rolling just the way it is. Bleed off a little bit of this speed. Down to 3.6, so that's good. Tankerman's coming out.
Then we go to the one abreast of us or the next one?
The next one.
Okay.
Now, I really want to pull the bow over this way and get over there, but I've got to trust my instruments, and the predictor line is saying that we are going to fall there anyway. So if I aim at it, I'll end up behind the dock. That would be bad. So this is one of those things where I don't want to trust my eyes. I want to trust the instruments. And it's funny, whenever I say stuff like that, it seems like I get a lot of people from an older school that are always like, oh, only believe what you see. But I think a lot of people in the airline industry will tell you that when things don't look right, you have to trust your instruments. I know that we have an insanely large amount of commercial airline pilots that watch this channel. I don't really know why, but I certainly appreciate it. And it's kind of funny. I've said this before, but driving a tugboat was not my first choice. I just kind of stumbled into this by accident. If I had it my way, I'd be flying up there with you guys. But I don't think I get the brains for it. You guys are a lot smarter than I am. But anyway, any of you... okay, so we're down to 2.7 knots now. So we're slowing down all the time. Predictor line is even showing me a little short. So that's so I can even bring the bow out a little bit to try to get that predictor line more flat on the dock. But if you're an airline pilot, tell me if that's a thing that you guys say or not. I think I read that somewhere that you guys always say trust your instruments. Okay, so right now the predictor line has us perfect. Down to 2.5 knots. And I don't want to take it out of gear or anything like that because we still got a little ways to go. And everything, knock on wood, everything seems to be going well. Are you guys seeing? Oh, it looks like you guys can still see some stuff. I have to turn the screen on to see how you're doing, but it shows the reflection in the window. Sorry about that. I'll just let it roll. 2.3 knots, still in clutch. And the predictor line's still looking good. The bow's falling in, but that's okay. Because the predictor line kind of likes that. As the bow falls in, the predictor line gets straighter because it's saying that's the way that we're going. And remember, I believe I can get right off the dock. This angle right here, where the barge is like this, the tide is coming this way, so it's pushing on this side like a sail, but underwater, and it's pushing us that way, like that. So, Chief, I don't know what this dock looks like, but what I'd like to do is land my bow first, and then use the tide to push me over to the dock. And if you don't see that there's something good to land on with the bow, then we can do something different. But that's kind of plan A for me right now.
Looks like it's going to be fine. The only two things you're going to touch, it looks like, are the two caissons on the end. I'm not sure that there's any fendering on the main dock.
Okay, very good. So in other words, I have to go and make sure, you need to make sure that you're telling me that I'm going to land on that forwardmost caisson. And can you see if it's got fendering? I'll put the field glasses on it.
It does. It's got wood piles around it.
Okay, let's hope it has the wood piles around it when we're done. That's a little...
The sun's down. Doesn't matter.
That's a little levity. Okay, we're down to 2.1 knots. Once again, I haven't touched the throttles. We've still got 2 in clutch. We're just bleeding off the speed all the time. I've come right a little bit because I'm scared. I need to get the bow on that last... So it looks like there's 3 clusters here. One right at the manifold, the first one that we get to, one right at the manifold, and the bow. And I'm not sure that the barge is long enough to cover all of them.
Your bow's just passing the first caisson.
Very good. It very well could cover all of them. But like I say, because I've got so much tide working on me, it shouldn't be any issue getting over to the dock. And the wind isn't an issue. The wind is off the dock, but with a loaded barge and this much tide, the wind really shouldn't be any factor at all. Okay, so right now I'm going to go all stop. Oh, you know, he hasn't even called that the bow is
Just now,
there it is.
Across the main dock. It's about 50 wide.
Okay, very good. I'm going to try to find my lights here. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so we're down to 1.8. I'm out of gear and I'm just coasting. I'm waiting for him to tell me that we got coverage on the bow. I've got about 20 degrees of left rudder. And that seems like a lot, but it really doesn't do much now because I'm not in gear. So I'm just using the tide and the 1.7 knots.
40 wide, and we are just now starting to overlap the forwardmost caisson.
Okay, good. So should I start putting on the brakes and working her over?
Yeah, let's do that. We're going to catch our first line here in about another 20 feet, and we're currently 25 wide.
Okay, good deal. So it looks like we have no problem at all to landing on both of these caissons. So, like I say, I want to get the bow over there and then use the tide to push my stern right over.
No problem. She's coming over all the time at 20 wide. Another 5 to 10 feet. We'll be putting out the first line.
Very good.
Probably have to do a little backing once we get over there.
Okay. All right, so we're down to 1 point.
Handler ready, so it won't be any problem.
Very good. We're down to 1 point, we're 0.9, 0.8 knots now, but we're still moving ahead. And we're slowly falling into the dock. Actually, a little bit slower than I expected, which is really good for the safety part. Where that shaking that you're hearing is cavitation. I'm backing pretty hard. We're at 0.4 knots ahead. Now she's starting to fall in, and I'm starting to go astern. All right, so I go all stop. And now I can even twist, because even if my stern comes out... Chief, do you still want me to back up, or are we good like this if I twist you in?
You'll probably have to back up a little bit just so we can work into our first line, but to come over right now, you can stay where you're at. We're 15 wide.
Okay. So I'm going to put the...
All right, Tankerman just informed me we are going to have to come back. He said a good ways. I don't have an estimate yet, but let's just get her to the dock.
Yep, don't let me lose that caisson. Whatever we do, don't let me lose that caisson.
You got 25, 30 foot of bow past it right now. You're good.
All right, I'm going to start working you over there. Okay, so it feels like the stern is moving in, and it looks like the bow is staying there or moving in at a slower rate. So I don't really care if the stern comes out, because the tide eventually is going to push that stern right over there. So I'm just giving a left twist. That's the port engine ahead. I mean, it's the port engine astern and the starboard engine ahead with the rudder hard over to port, or hard left wheel as we say here. Now you can see the bow moving, and what I do is I look
at... All right, we're 12 wide, coming over all the time. I wouldn't go back too much further yet. I'd come ahead just a hair just to check yourself up.
All right, I'm going to center my rudder and I'll come ahead. So now I center my rudder so that way I don't jam it into the caisson. I want to be able to twist against there to slow it down.
First line's going across and we're 10 wide.
All right, I'm all stopped, and as we get in there, I'm going to start lifting the bow out, and that will bring the stern in. So right now, it looks like he's about 5 off, so I'm going to do a right twist, port engine ahead, starboard engine astern, hard right wheel. And that's going to slow the bow down, because the bow is moving to the left, from right to left. So now I've just checked now. I just went all stop because I'm watching the distance. I don't know if you can see it. Running out of light. Chief, what do you got? About 5 feet?
We're still about 7, coming over very slow right now.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a little bit more. I thought she was going to come over a little quicker than that. Okay, so now I'm going to reset my rudder.
Once we get flat, we will have to come back a little bit from where we're at, but he's ready with the first line.
No problem. Count me down as I bring you over. So now I'm going to go back to that left twist again to get that bow over there.
6 to go.
6 to go. All right, now it's starting to move. So I go all stop, center my rudder because it takes a while if I want to put the brakes on. 5 to go. So now it's just letting it coast in there. And once again, the tide should be doing that. I'm putting the rudder hard right when I'm all stop. I haven't heard anything from him, so that's a good sign.
To go.
All right, I'm all stop. I'm just letting it drift.
All right, Greganis, how much you want us to back up? We're up to come back about 20 feet.
Do you want me to get flat first?
Yep.
Yeah, Chief, can you wrap that up so I can work against it? So the chief up in the bow is going to wrap that line up. In other words, he's going to make that line fast, and I'm going to do a right-hand twist, and that will pull against that line and pull the stern up.
Okay, Tim, she's wrapped up. She's got about 3 foot of slack in her before you come tight.
All right, very good. Here we go. Now I give her a little coax, not too much, because I don't. When it comes that 3 foot of slack, when it comes into that line, I don't want the momentum to walk through the line. In fact, I just want to stop because I want it to come into. People don't realize the shock load. You can put a lot of force on these big lines, but if you shock it, they don't stand a chance. We coming into that line yet?
The line's coming tight, but that's because we're working off the dock.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, good deal. So the line's tight. I just didn't know if I could work on it yet.
She's still got a little stretching to do. She hasn't stopped yet, but she's pretty tight.
All right. So here we go. Stern's coming over all the time, pulling against his line. We didn't shock load it too much. Tide's working against us. Once we get to the dock, we'll slide back a little bit more until the tankerman says that we're in position, and we'll be good to go.
Looks like we're still coming astern a bit.
We're not going to fall off your caisson, are we?
I wouldn't go more than 10 feet astern from where we're at right now.
Is that going to work with you on the barge?
I'll probably have to come back for another 5-10 feet from now, but it's going to be more once you get flat.
All right, well, we don't want to lose that dolphin up there, you know? Okay, so I'm gone all stop, and I'm letting it fall in. Chief, don't let me lose that dolphin, all right?
I got my eyes on it. You're good.
Give it another little bump over there.
It might be a problem with if we weren't loaded as deep as we are, but we're fine.
All right. If you look down the stern, I'm thinking we got like 3 feet to go, 5 feet to go, something like that in the stern.
Yes, sir. 6 feet to go on the stern. We're pretty flat right now. You hold about 6 or 7 off, up and down.
All right, can I just back on that line a little bit and flatten us out and get more in position?
If you use the line to back, I think it's going to put us back a little too far.
All right, so you want to release the line and have me come back? Is that what you want to do?
Now, I'm just saying, if you go all the way back until this line is as tight as a backing line, we're not going to have good coverage on the caisson.
Oh, I got you. All right, so how are we looking now? How far off are we?
We're on spot. It looks like it's 4 feet off, and we're about 6 foot on the bow.
All right. And what was that on the 52?
So we're right on spot now. We're going back past the mountain.
All right, finest kind. Maybe you put out a couple more lines and lace her up. All right. Well, I think before it gets any darker, before you can't see anything, that's about did it. You can't even see me. Probably just as well, right? There we go. You guys, thank you so much for watching.
Tim, let's see if we can get you a line on the stern to work ahead into, because this first line we got up here ain't doing you no favors right now.
All right, very good. Just make sure I don't lose that caisson up there.
I'm watching it.
Okay. So
I'll send those dot guys down here. I'll get a line out.
Very good.
Give her a bump ahead just so you don't lose the caisson.
Giving her a bump ahead. Okay, you got to center my rudder. Takes a little while for the rudder to come over. There we go. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you got anything out of it, love it if you gave us a like, subscribe, do anything like that. That's wonderful. If you want to support us.
Let her fall over where she's at now, and I'll see how she lays.
Very good. You can support the channel by hitting the super thanks or heading over to Patreon. I'll put a link in the description below. And love to have you on the Patreon. Patrons get videos ad-free and early content, and they get special private videos too. All right, you guys, take care, be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the one.